Hi, hello, my name is Sydney and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be having ChatGPT pick my May TBR. So recently I have found myself using ChatGPT way more than I used to, and it got me thinking, how could it help me pick my TBR or kind of give me book prompts? I went on the little ChatGPT app and I asked it to come up with 25 prompts that will help me pick my May TBR. And I was like, okay, well, I could come up with those prompts on my own. How can we make this a little bit more interesting? It gave me a list of 25 prompts, and then I asked it, how could it help me pick my TBR for this month? And it came up with like 5 different options, but the ones that I liked were the TBR game based on the prompts that it had given me before. And I also liked that it would pick my TBR for me. I told it which ones I liked, and then I gave it a list of all the books on my physical TBR. I ended up having it choose 7 books for me. It chose 7 random prompts from the first 25 prompts it gave me from my first question. And then I also had it give me recommendations based on the books that are on my physical TBR. So ChatGPT really came in handy this month because I didn't want to do like the regular pick the prompts from the TBR jar, and last month I had a random number generator pick my TBR, and so I thought that this would be a fun and creative way to choose my May TBR. So let's just go ahead and get started with the prompts that ChatGPT has given me for this month. Okay, so prompt number 1 is a book by an author you've never read, and Chat ended up giving me Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and I've actually already read books from Ali Hazelwood, so I can't choose that for this prompt, but it also gave me Heartless Hunter, Belladonna, or Firefly Lane. I have all 3 of the books here, and I honestly want to read all of these, and this is going to be a very hard decision. Belladonna was on my TBR for last month, and I ended up not getting to it. I don't know, I just was in the middle of reading a lot of different books, and I still am in the middle of reading a bunch of different books, so it just ended up not making it. I think Heartless Hunter is a good option, but I'm pretty sure they also gave me Heartless Hunter for a couple other prompts, so I feel like this one I'm not gonna choose just yet. Now we are left with Belladonna and Firefly Lane. Now, Firefly Lane, as you guys can see from this, it is a Netflix original, and I actually watched the show and I really, really enjoyed it. I feel like this would be a good book to listen to on audiobook, so I feel like this would be a good option. I've also been really intrigued by Belladonna for the longest time, and I feel like I should pick it up just because it was on my last month's TBR and I ended up not getting to it. I ended up choosing Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. I have been really wanting to pick up a Kristen Hanna book recently, and I have also heard a lot of good things just about her writing in general. I haven't seen too many people specifically read this book. I'm probably going to try to listen to it on audiobook just because I feel like that would kind of get me more immersed in the story just by knowing, the background information that I have from the Netflix series. So this is the first book that is going to be on our May TBR. Okay, so ChatGPT for prompt number 2 chose a book that intimidates you, and it recommended me again 3 different books. The first one is A Little Life. Ugh. The second one is The Atlas 6 because of the hype and complex magic systems. And the third one it gave me was Saving 6 because of its emotional intensity. So out of those 3 books, A Little Life, I'm not gonna lie, intimidates me the most, but I just cannot bring myself to read that. I also don't think it is the right time for me to read such an emotional, crazy, intense book. So unfortunately, we're not going to be choosing that. And then second, it gave me The Atlas 6. And I don't know, I am not super intrigued by that. I also read a pretty heavy magic, systemed book last month, and so it's not really something that I want to jump into again. So I think what we are going to choose is Saving 6 by Chloe Walsh, and I have been wanting to read this ever since I put down the last book that I read in this series, and I am so excited that chat ended up choosing this for me, but I kind of ended up choosing it. And if you guys don't know what this book is, I can't really explain exactly what this book is about, but I can kind of give you a little overview of what this series is. So this is the Boys of Tommen series. It starts with Binding and Keeping 13, and those two books are about Shannon and Johnny, and it's very emotional, very crazy. A lot of stuff does happen, a lot of like triggering things. Definitely look up trigger warnings if you haven't read this series yet. I'm really excited that this is going to be going on my May TBR, and hopefully this month I end up actually reading it, because a couple of months ago this was also on my TBR and I ended up not getting to it. For prompt number 3, ChatGPT chose a fantasy book with less than 400 pages. So to be completely honest, I only have one option for this, because if you guys don't already know, a lot of fantasies are well over, 400 usually pages, honestly. So the only book that I have on my shelf that matches this prompt is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater, and I haven't heard too many people talk about this in the bookish community. I did see a couple of people mention that they did really like it, but I haven't seen too many ratings, and honestly, this book has definitely really been intriguing to me, and I've had my eye on it for a while. The back of it says it's difficult to find a husband in Regency England when you're a young lady with only half a soul. So that definitely is super interesting. I want to know, what happened to the other half of her soul. ChatGPT says it is cozy, short, and full of fae magic. So I read my first cozy fantasy last month and I did enjoy it. And I don't know if that genre is necessarily for me, but we will see. And I don't know, I am actually really excited to be adding this to my TBR for this month. So fingers crossed I get to it and hopefully I enjoy it. Moving on to prompt number 4, we have a book with a one-word title. And the first book it recommended me, and like the top book it recommended me, was Heartless by Elsie Silver. It also recommended me Phantasma, Belladonna, and Quicksilver. So out of all of those, I think I'm most interested in Heartless, just because I did enjoy Flawless, which is the first book in the Chestnut Spring series, and I know a lot of people really do like this series all over the bookish community. So I think we're gonna go ahead and pick Heartless as prompt number 4, just because I am really excited to read this book, and I do enjoy Elsie Silver's writing, so I'm excited to be adding this. Thank you, ChatGPT, for picking this, because I've been wanting to read it for a while. For prompt number 5, ChatGPT chose a book recommended by BookTok. So it gave me a pretty good amount of options. We have Haunting Adeline, The Fine Print, The Atlas Six, From Blood and Ash, Twisted Love, The Cruel Prince, and Addicted for Now. I have been wanting to continue the Addicted Calloway Sisters series, so that would be Addicted for Now. But I've also wanted to read Twisted Love, but I don't know if I'm really in the mood for that. So I'm going to pick Addicted for Now by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the 3rd book in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series, and this is the last book in the series, I believe, that follows Lily and Lo, which the first 2 books are also about this couple, and then you move into Lily's sisters. If you guys don't know anything about this series, I definitely would recommend looking up trigger warnings, just because these 2 main characters do struggle with addictions, so there is some heavy topics that are tackled in this series. But I have been wanting to pick this book up ever since I put down Ricochet, which is the 2nd book in this series. So thank you, ChatGPT, for putting this on my TBR for this month, but I'm really excited. I also really love these covers. They're super simple, yet very pretty. Prompt number 6 is a book with pink on the cover, and the first and only book it recommended me, I'm not sure why, is Promise Me Sunshine, and it says it's by Abby Jimenez, which, girl, that is completely wrong. Promise Me Sunshine is by Cara Bastone, and this book has been all over the bookish community recently, and I am so excited to pick this up. I don't really necessarily think this is pink though. Like, this is orange and yellow, so I think ChatGPT, I think she got a little bit confused, but I do really want to read this. Like, the back is kind of like pinkish salmon, but that's not the cover, and I feel like I mean, there's like a little bit of pink in there. Can I justify that? Probably not, but let's see. There's definitely like some other books on this TBR cart that have pink on the cover. We have Practice Makes Perfect. We have How to End a Love Story, The Love of My Afterlife, Wild Love. Oh, First Time Caller is also like pretty much all pink. And I definitely have like a good amount of books on here. I'm not sure why ChatGPT, out of all of these pink covered books, maybe she got a little bit confused, but I don't know why she picked Promise Me Sunshine, because that probably has the least amount of pink out of all of the covers that have pink on them that are on my physical TBR. But First Time Caller has definitely been on my radar. I've seen a lot of people reading this book, so this is definitely going to be an option. I have also been wanting to read The Love of My Afterlife. There is pink on here, but it's not a ton of pink, so I don't know if that really like counts. I've also seen some people talk about How to End a Love Story. I've also heard people talk about Practice Makes Perfect, but I'm pretty sure this is a part of an interconnected standalone series, and I think When in Rome is the first one. I think I'm going to choose First Time Caller by B.K. Borison because I've heard a lot of people talking about this, and this is a newer release. I believe it came out this year, and I don't know, it's just intriguing to me. It is like a podcast, or not a podcast, a radio show host, and somebody calls in, and I honestly don't know anything else about it, but I am really excited to read this, so we are going to add that as my 6th book on my May TBR. Our last prompt is a book set in spring or summer. So the first book it recommended me was The Strawberry Pancake House, and I don't know if I really want to read that one, but it also gave me Promise Me Sunshine as another one that works. So out of those two, I'm gonna pick Promise Me Sunshine because, as we all know, like I just said, I've been wanting to read this book for a while, and if you can see, I have like a little receipt sticking out. I ended up reading like one chapter the day I bought it, and I was like, okay, I don't know if I should read this now, because at the time I was in the middle of a bunch of different books, so I didn't want to pick this up because I know this is more on the like emotional side of things. But I have heard a lot of people talking about Cara Stone. Hopefully I end up liking Cara Stone's writing, but this is going to be the last book on our May TBR. To recap all of the books that are going to be on my TBR for this month, we have Firefly Lane, Saving Six, Half a Soul, Heartless, Addicted for Now, First Time Caller, and Promise Me Sunshine. So all of these books are really exciting to me. I honestly haven't been too excited about a TBR in a while, so this one is definitely something that I am actually excited to get to. Not saying that any of the books on my TBR are books that I'm not excited to get to, but these ones I am more like extra excited to get to. But ChatGPT gave us some really good recommendations. It came up with some really good prompts. Definitely let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this like way of picking my TBR, and if you think that I should continue to use ChatGPT to pick my TBRs later on down the road. And if there's like a way you guys think I could utilize ChatGPT to pick my prompts in the future, definitely also let me know that. And if you guys have read any of these books, also let me know if you liked them or if you didn't like them. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to stay tuned for more videos from me, and happy reading.